Hi, I'm interviewing Alison about cross-culture and polite language. So Alison, would you like to sort of give your background a little bit, please?
Yeah, I work at LSI as a one-to-one teacher, and I specialise in teaching people with all sorts of needs and requirements, usually in the business area, although it can be any kind of field. I've taught people from engineers and people who installed sewer liners to, this week, a librarian who works in a very academic environment in Switzerland.
Okay, well, what I'm really interested in is your view on teaching polite language, diplomatic language, softening language to people who communicate much more directly from those kind of cultures, coming over to perhaps do business in the UK, and how important you think it is as a subject.
Well, I think it is important. I'm actually teaching an Argentinian at the moment who is working in the UK in a business environment in the UK, and he is finding that he needs to be able to express things politely, particularly in an email if he wants things done in a particular way. And so using that language has become extremely important for him. The way that he would normally address someone very directly doesn't really, he knows and he feels aware that people know he's not communicating it in the most efficient way. And so the politeness aspect, I think, is extremely important. I've had other students as well. Most businesses seem to require workers to, or people to express themselves in a polite way over the phone or in a meeting, and particularly in cross-cultural meetings, it's absolutely vital, I think. One of the other things is that making requests, if you want something done, then you're more likely to get a better result if you have used softened or downtoned language.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because I had a student and he wrote a very direct email to get something, a catalogue I think it was, in England, and then we sat down, changed all the language, and he asked for it extremely politely. I was wondering if you could possibly send me a catalogue and the catalogue arrived. So have you had similar experiences?
Yes. I think I think that the guy I'm teaching at the moment, he has to send emails to his manager, often to the director, and he really agonises about sending those emails now, because he realises that they need a certain level of formality and politeness. And he kind of has nightmares if he isn't able to get it properly checked through to make sure that it's a standard. But I think it has this aspect to do with how your other colleagues at work view you as you become. If you're a low-level speaker, of course it's difficult to learn these things. But if you're a high-level speaker, then you become much more aware of the subtleties of the language.
I'm researching language in the workplace, and I know that you're a business English teacher and you've had quite a lot of experience in this area. So what do you think about the whole issue of teaching learners from more direct communicative cultures to kind of their English sounds softer and less direct?
It's an interesting question. I think it all depends on the student and what they're using their English for. If they're just going to use their English to talk to other people from the same culture as themselves, fine. It's probably not very important. But I think realistically, most learners are coming to learn English so that they can work in a multinational company. So they'll be mixing with lots of different cultures. And in that case, I think cultural awareness is absolutely vital.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I'm trying to design materials to sort of highlight this area for learners. I think maybe just having some videos of people from around the world talking about the differences could be a good starting point.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking at designing exercises and materials in this area.
Cultural awareness is not a new area at all, but it's an area that's often overlooked, and I think it's much more important because if you can't build relationships with people because of a lack of cultural awareness, business is going to be hard work for you. But what I'm basically saying is that relationships are the key to business success. So,
I agree with you. If learners can't do this, it's going to, possibly cause them multi-billion-pound contracts that are done at the end of the day if they can't negotiate with the British, for example, and can't soften their message.
And you're just irritating people, or perhaps the learner themselves gets confused by the indirect language used by British people and other native speakers.
That's right, because I did an interview with a student called Farazad, and she highlighted some of these issues. For example, could you possibly, does it mean that you have a choice in the matter, or does the report really have to be done by Friday?
Yeah.
Confusing.
Well, I've had exactly the same experience. We had students from Tesco's in Hungary who had to do a lot of business, obviously, with their British counterparts here.
Yeah.
And in meetings, there was a real sort of, lack of understanding. And it was a culture clash, basically. I think when they'd been here for a few weeks, it really helped them see that difference in the direct, non-direct language. I think that's really, really important. Maybe it should be, the first thing we look at before teaching, presentations and all of these things.
So perhaps there needs to also be more training for teachers, on these. Certainly on my Trinity Business English Trainer course with Mark Powell, we did look at this area in a lot of detail, which really helped me. And also, I've done some work with, Richard Lewis, cross-cultural communications, and Richard Lewis has written numerous books on the topic, and he's a, world expert. There is out there a sort of lack. It seems to be a lack of awareness.
It's almost like it's a new area. We do need more material. There was quite a heavy emphasis on my LCCI course, but not much material. So it's the way forward, I think.
Okay, thanks a lot, Rachel.
You're welcome.